Hello, everyone. I hope you can see and hear me. And it's good to see people starting in on the chat there. So, yes, it's morning. Yay! It's good when the technology works. And figure these are fun, and we'll try to keep it short and to the point and helpful. So, I know a lot of times we struggle with the housework because we know that housework isn't all there is. So there's this balance between um, keeping up with the house, making the bathrooms not disgusting, washing the dishes. There are these routine, kind of mundane things that are part of our job to do, but that we know aren't really the most important part of what we do. Maybe there are other things that we would rather be doing, or we have projects, we have kids that need our attention. And so it's easy to say, well, of all these things that need to be let go, I'm going to let go on the housework. Either that, or we kind of clutch at the housework. Like, this is something I can control. I could do this. I can't. These other things are kind of too big, too much scope. I'll just stick with these kind of small things. Educating makes cleaning hard. That's right. And the educating is more important, isn't it? Yeah, and it makes it hard. If we think that the housework is something that we can control, then it doesn't take that many kids or that many years for us to realize, nope, not even that. We don't even control that, right? We can't even do that because there are other people. There are other people doing things, messing things up, using things. And so to strike that balance between keeping up with our responsibilities and not being an uptight, stressed out mess is hard. It's really hard. But it's something that's one of the areas that we are to grow in. And that is one way that house cleaning helps us as people grow and mature, is working out that balance and figuring out what does matter, what doesn't matter. How can we fulfill our responsibilities and glorify God in how we do them? Not just that they're done, but in how we get from here to there. Is the way that we are doing it honoring to God? Stacy says that the housework is educating them in a different way. My post-college kids had a number of roommates in college who didn't seem to learn that. Yeah. It's all of life, right? Education is all of life. So finding that balance on what's okay to let go when, because we can't do it all. We can't do it all to the highest ideal. Like, we look at it all. We look at the housework, the homeschool, whatever other projects we have on our plate, and we have this idea, this ideal that we think, okay, that's my goal. That's where I'm going. I'm going to head there. And it's hard to even get one up to that. I mean, we really can't. That's why we feel like we're always failing, is we have our standard or our idea of what we want it to be up here, and we're down here, and we have maybe multiple ideals up here that we're trying to get to, and we just don't have that much attention, focus, energy, and we might put too much energy on one end and realize that things are falling apart in this other area of life. And so it makes it really difficult and makes it easy to want to give up. Yes, good enough. And figuring out what that good enough means, and figuring out when to go for it, like go all in on something, and when to just accept that things are not going to be exactly the way you want them to, is it was part of what we need to be doing. Oh no, don't reload. Technology accidental click there. So one of the things that makes this hard is a fact of life, a fact of reality and creation. I don't know if this is part of the fall or if God created the world this way and it is good, and someday we'll see that it's a force for good. It feels like a force for bad, and that is entropy. Part of the second law of thermodynamics. And it basically means things fall apart by nature. Things don't tend to order in and of themselves. They tend to disorder. Anything that has, so it's the way of energy. And just the way the world works is that things don't stay where you put them, and or organize themselves or put themselves into order. It doesn't things aren't naturally drawn to order like a magnet, that kind of drawing. No, things are naturally drawn outwards, away from order. And so that's why it can be so frustrating, is because yet entropy does not take time off. Exactly. So we feel like everything we do should be moving us forward, right? Like we're on stairs and we're climbing the stairs, we're taking one step at a time. Sometimes, we can skip a stair and get up extra fast. Sometimes we can pick up our pace, but we're heading up the stairs. And so every step we take is supposed to be moving us forward, onward, upward, better. And we look around and that's not the case. That's not what's happening. It's like we feel like, hey, I'm moving on this stair and I look around me and it doesn't feel like I've gotten anywhere. Something's wrong. And nothing's wrong. We aren't doing anything wrong. That is the nature of the world and our work, is that every step we take is not moving us up and forward. Yeah. So we think, okay, I guess I'm not on a staircase where I'm going to arrive at the top someday and every step, should be moving me forward. Maybe I fall down a few steps or something, but every purposeful forward movement that I make should be moving me up and on, right? Nope. And so it feels like maybe a stairmaster, where you're like moving, and you're not getting anywhere at all. But of course, the point of a stairmaster is not to get up levels, is not to reach the top, not to move higher and higher and get somewhere. The point of a stairmaster is just the work and getting into shape and practice and using muscles. And so our housework can be like that, where we can look at it that way and say, I might not be where I want to be, and what I'm doing right now might not be moving me forward and getting me ahead and those kind of goals that I have, but it's still good for me. This is still good practice, and I'm getting stronger. I'm exercising those perseverance muscles, the habit muscles, and like Sisyphus, where you're just doing the same thing over and over on endless repeat. But that's not even what it is. It's not a stairmaster. We aren't Sisyphus. But if it feels like that, we can at least take that and turn it around and saying, well, whatever is making me stronger. So I'm going to still keep at it and not let that discouragement get me down. I can even turn that around and say, no, it's still good. But what is really happening? We aren't climbing stairs, and it's not a stairmaster. As a treadmill, life, and especially housework, we see this clearly with meals. right? Because people have to eat multiple times a day, and that makes dishes. But once you've done the dishes, that doesn't mean you're done. It means you're done with that part of it, and then there will be another round, and there's just round after round. It's a cycle, and it's serving a purpose. It's moving other things forward, even though you never get to the end of a meal cycle. You never get past it. Sometimes you might get a little bit ahead by like freezer meals or using paper plates or something like that. But the point of the whole meal prep and meal serving and meal cleaning up is that is moving something else forward. But in and of it, it's like ball of energy in the middle that I shouldn't use science metaphors. I don't know what I'm talking about. Yeah, it's constant. And we kind of realize with the kitchen work that we're going to be doing it every day. And sometimes we don't like it, and sometimes we whine about it, but we realize that with the kitchen stuff. But it's the same thing with the bathrooms, with the laundry, even with organizing drawers, closets, vacuuming, mopping, gardening, bedroom cleaning for sure. All these things aren't moving us forward, and life is continually taking us backwards on them. Like even if we stop doing them, we aren't staying still. Let's just say it's like a treadmill where you have to keep moving in order to stay where you are. So just those steps of just doing what you're supposed to be doing isn't getting you anywhere. And so if you are doing, your routines, what you think you should be doing, but you feel like I'm not getting anywhere, you're not doing anything wrong. There isn't some magic trick or tip or whatever that's going to like suddenly turn things around. You're just realizing the nature of life and that this is a treadmill. So I have to keep moving to stay where I am. And there's nothing I can do to short circuit that or try to get around that or try to change the way the world works. Entropy is just real. That's the way things are. It is a treadmill. So it does get easier. The analogy works pretty well because it does get easier to keep up and stay on your place in the treadmill. The longer you're at it, you grow your muscles, you grow your lung capacity and all that sort of thing. It gets easier, but you never get to the point where you can stop, because as soon as you stop, you go backwards. And of course, different people's treadmills are spinning at different rates, like depending on your circumstances, right? What you have going on, how many toddlers you have, what, if you're pregnant and nursing, or these kind of things keep us at a slower pace. And then sometimes we're kept at a slower pace while our treadmill is turned up. And so we're taking steps, like we're not doing nothing. It's like, I promise I'm not doing nothing really, but I'm still moving backwards. And it's because our pace isn't matching the treadmill's miles per hour. And that's just the way life goes sometimes. And sometimes just to realize that and realize where you are is the reality check that we need to say, okay, eventually I'm going to be able to move faster. I'm going to be able to pick up my pace. Right now, yeah, we're going behind. Maybe I can find ways to get help. Have my mother-in-law come stay with us for a week and help us catch up, or ask my husband to pitch in and help out, or get a mother's helper. You can bring in maybe some extra help, but sometimes it's just true that the treadmill is going faster than we're able to keep up. And just acknowledging the reality is a big step to handling it cheerfully and with grace. And so this is where I am right now. And then sometimes, it is time to start picking up our pace and to move forward. And so it's hard because sometimes we do need to get ahead on the treadmill. There's the maintenance steps where we're taking these constant steps, and this pace is keeping us right where we are, but we need to be or want to be farther along. That means on top of the maintenance routines that are just keeping you in place, you have to sprint. So you have to do a short sprint to get ahead. And then those same maintenance steps will keep you at that point. This is a really big treadmill. It's not a little short one where you just fall off in catastrophe after 10 seconds. I actually have a couple scars on my wrist from sitting on a treadmill as a kid, and my cousin thought it'd be funny to turn the treadmill on. So the treadmill analogies kind of bring up a little childhood drama. But it's like a really long one, like maybe one of those airport moving sidewalk things where it's like, okay, I need to get there. And so you sprint ahead, and then it still takes maintenance. Sometimes I think we sprint ahead thinking, now I'm going to be able to take it easy. But as soon as we start taking it easy, we drift backwards. So there's getting ahead, but as soon as you stop, you are slipping backwards. So we have to do a little bit extra maybe to catch up, have a house cleaning day, take the day off of school, take the day off of whatever else, maybe swap kids with a friend for a few hours, and then like do a little sprint. And then you got to keep up with those maintenance routines to stay on the treadmill. Yeah. It's after, I don't know about you, but after I'm done sprinting, it's like what I want to do is just sprawl on the couch, right? Sprinting. If you stop, other people plow over you. The other people in the house, am I right? Yeah. So sprinting, you feel at the end like you deserve a break and that now I should just be able to rest up, but it doesn't work that way. So going into it, knowing that, I think helps us be reasonable even in our sprints. Like sometimes I know I kind of do the boom and bust thing where the boom is a big boom, but it's totally not sustainable. Even the level of cleanliness that I might get us to is not sustainable with a normal maintenance routine. And there are times where that's nice if you're having overnight guests, or there are times where you do need to do a boom. But if it's just a normal, like I need a little sprint to catch us up because the treadmill is going faster than my rate of normal routine walking. And I think that's just inevitable with homeschooling, especially multiple children. You can't, like the pace that you're able to keep up is often not always the pace that you need to even stay where you are. And so that's why it's, building in those catch-up times, like a break week every 6 weeks, and say, okay, I'm going to things are kind of falling apart slowly, way more slowly than they used to in the past when it was a total bust. We're not a total bust, but the house is still falling apart faster than I'm building up, cleaning it up. So I know that there are going to be regular intervals of a short sprint, and then being reasonable in that short sprint and like not to totally wear myself out and get to a point where I was like, I never want to clean again. I used that all up. Now I'm done. I sprained my ankle doing the running part of it. You don't want to push yourself so far that you take yourself out of the game. So, yes, sprawl on the couch after a boom and bust. So, allowing sometimes for sprints, but being reasonable, and also even just acknowledging like the sprint can increase your lung capacity. so that you're able to maintain more. And to kind of view it in that way helps us to accept baby steps and small progress over time. And so this is a marathon. This treadmill is never going to stop. So I've got to do what it takes to be able to keep going, even if that means allowing times where I am still taking steps, but I know that that the treadmill's moving me the other direction faster than I'm moving forward. And so that's just kind of built into my expectations. And it's really, our expectations are a huge part of our attitude and our ability to handle life and children and interruptions and all of that with grace. So yes, so Nina says, the idea of intervals is the genius trick to console myself that I don't have to keep up this pace forever. Exactly. Yes. So it's like partly mind tricks, right? Because what we expect, even just the metaphor of a treadmill versus stairs, what we expect shapes how we react when things either do or don't go the way we thought that they should. So just really tuning our minds into what is true, how does the world really work, what is our true responsibility in this. All of those sorts of just mindset shifts help tremendously. Even if they don't, they don't make the beds. A mindset shift alone doesn't get the floors vacuumed, but it can help us vacuum the floors without feeling like it's such an onerous thing or, feeling bitter about it. So yes, so intervals, you can check out, search for intervals on smorganization.com. And I even had a past season all planning, which I think that does help a lot, where you have those times built in for sprints. So it's so bad during the maintenance times that you aren't getting ahead, and maybe you are slipping behind. It's just built into the expectations. And if you need to turn you turn up the speed on your own forward progress, like practice, turn your routines into a project and really build them up to a solid point where you are not maybe getting ahead with a few little sprint extra decluttering jobs, but picking up your normal pace so that you're not falling behind as quickly, maybe not falling flat on your face on the treadmill. That's kind of what Sweep and Smile is all about. And this is the last week for the first round of Sweep and Smile. That's been a lot of fun. And a lot of the ladies that have been in this first round of Sweep and Smile are joining in on the next round. There was a link, and I know a lot of you here are already in Sweep and Smile. So there was a link that went out where you could join the second round for free. So you can email me if you didn't get that. And if you want to join Sweep and Smile, we are doing another round of it starting in 2 weeks or a week and a half. The 28th of July, the next one will start. So it's been a lot of fun. It's really helped figure out what those basic routines need to be and just practice them. Practice with reminders and, in community, and realizing, because a big part of it is just realizing you're not alone. We're all in this together. We're all struggling through it, and we're all finding our kind of minimum viable routines and practicing those. It's easy to put together a plan on paper that will keep everything perfect, but Sweep and Smile is about the minimum viable routines to just keep those daily steps going so that, we kind of fall flat on our face on the treadmill less often. Good for older kids, teens. It's really about maintaining the housework. So you could look the table of contents, as it were, what the focus is each week is. It's really aimed at moms, but you might be able to do it with your kids and get them to take some ownership of their areas or that sort of thing. So yes, the interval, there is a season on the audio blog on interval planning. I believe it was actually season 1. So if you go to /audio or click podcast up at the top on the menu, I believe it was season 1 was interval planning. So thank you all for joining me, and we'll talk to you later.